game on the back of a disappointing performance in Toulouse. 46-10 drubbing for Neil Kelly's side. He has Ian Mort at full-back, and it's Steve Maiden, Sam Ray, Adam Rudd, who makes his first appearance of the season, Nick Stanton, Stuart Donlan, who makes his first appearance at stand-off this season, normally at full-back or on the wing, and then Ian Watson at 7. In the forwards, Andy Hobson, Dave McConnell, Mike Morrison, Chris Hill, James Taylor and Dave Armitstead. It's a big tough pack for the Centurions. On the bench, Aaron Smith making his first appearance of the season, Jamie Durbin, Danny Meakin and Kurt Haggerty, and the coach is Neil Kelly. Now, Featherstone Rovers in a great run of form at the moment. Had a good Easter and looking good in the table with Ian Hardman at full-back. Then it's Sam Smeaton, Andy Kirk, Tom Hockey, Tom Saxton, who comes into the lineup tonight, direct replacement for John Steele, who failed a fitness test. Iestyn Harris at 6 and Andy Kane partners him in the halves. In the forwards, Tony Tonks, Joe McLaughlin, Stuart Dickens, the captain, Matty Dale, Tim Spears and Jamie Field. And on the bench, Jack Lee, Richard Blakeway, Stuart Kane and John Fallon. The coach is Darryl Powell. Well, this is a great new facility for the Leigh Centurions, part of the Leigh Sports Village, and it's a massive change from the experience at Hilton Park, which no longer exists. It is a wasteland now, Hilton Park, waiting for development, that part of the town. It's all happening here at the Leigh Sports Village, 12,000 seat stadium, and they've got a sports centre, a swimming pool, an athletics track. There's a sixth form college alongside it, so everything you could possibly want, and it is an absolutely fantastic example of what a club should be about, the sort of facilities a club should have, and there'll be many envious eyes being cast at the facilities Neil Kelly and his team have here at Leigh Sports Village. Both the two sides are out now, and one name missing from this Leigh Centurion side is that of Lee Marsh, and he is unavailable to play tonight because of a family tragedy. His mother Maureen died suddenly at the weekend in tragic circumstances, and her sudden death has shocked the club. So a minute's silence now being observed in memory of Mrs. Maureen Marsh. It's been a pretty sombre week in the Leigh Centurions camp because of the tragedy that's befallen Lee Marsh. Gareth Hewer is the referee tonight from Whitehaven in Cumbria, about to get us underway. I think it'll be Leigh Centurions who'll be kicking us off. And Leigh really do have a bit of a point to prove this evening. Their form hasn't been great, and as I said, they go into this on the back of that drubbing in Toulouse by 46 points to 10, and Neil Kelly will surely be looking for a response to that.
The response has got to be, Bill, they've got to defend. They've conceded 156 points now in 6 games, and it's just not good enough. They're playing against the big physical Leigh side. You already commented on the Leigh pack, how there's no nonsense in there, but they're playing against the guys and the team from Featherstone who will really stand up to that challenge tonight.
Well, if you're looking for a form guide, it just favours Featherstone Rovers this season, but only just because they beat Leigh 10-6 in the Northern Rail Cup back in February. But in actual fact, Featherstone don't have a great record in this part of the world. They've lost on their last 8 visits to Leigh. Of course, that'll be to Hilton Park. They've got an unblemished record here at the Leigh Sports Village. Neither, for that matter, have Leigh won in the championship on their own pitch, so they have something to prove here tonight. Here is one of those rugged forwards mentioned, Tony Tonks, taking the ball forward for Featherstone Rovers just over the halfway line. And here is Iestyn Harris, What a coup it was for Featherstone to land his signature, and a kick neatly placed into space.
Yeah, tremendous player, Justin Harris, and we've seen him at a few clubs now, haven't we? Be just such an influence in the game. I just wonder, Bill, how many times tonight we'll call his name. He'll be looking to touch the ball plenty of times.
And interesting that Justin Harris up against Ian Watson, two veteran Welsh internationals going head-to-head in the half-back region. It's Leigh in possession at the moment. Here is Mike Morrison. Once of Widner's Vikings. Joined the Leigh Centurions last season. And here is Watson. Watson just inside his 40, puts the kick in. Gareth Hewer shouting outside. Touch and go.
From first impression, though, it looked like he did kick from inside his 40. You can see on this angle here.
I think he's been hard done by there, hasn't he?
Very hard done to. But that is all about Ian Watson's kicking game. You can see it's behind the red line there.
It's the white line that counts.
Yep, it's behind the red line. He stands on the white line. So Gareth Hewer come up trumps there. But that is all about Ian Watson. He knows that he's got to turn Featherstone round. They've got a big pack that want to come forward, and that is really hard to retreat behind the ball, bring it forward. If you control the ball, you'll control the game.
So Watson's foot was on the line. That's why Gareth Hewer awarded the scrum in favour of Featherstone Rovers, who are bringing the ball out now. It's Tom Hockey, one of the experienced campaigners in this Featherstone side that's had a pretty good start to the season and looked to be improving as well after a disastrous performance against Whitehaven a few weeks ago, when they were a disgrace, according to their coach, losing 52 points to 26. Their form has improved, but just as I say that, they come up with the error.
Jamie Field trying to get up, didn't control the ball. You can see the lead player's head was in there, and you've got to really control. When you're in possession of the ball, you can't afford to lose it. When you're getting up, do a simple thing like playing the ball.
So Leigh Centurions have the ball back. And here's Stuart Donlan, and it's quite an ask for Donlan to play in that standoff role tonight. Normally, well, everybody familiar with him really in that full-back or wing role, and first appearance at standoff. Dave Armitstead now, the Australian in this Leigh Centurion side. And there is Neil Kelly back in rugby league after his stint working in Union with Ulster. And he sees Andy Hobson take that ball up for his side. Hobson just managing to keep a hold of it. He nearly lost that one. Little kick through from Watson is well dealt with, as you'd expect, by Ian Hardman.
Ian Hardman in the right place at the right time, and that's a good skill, that. When the ball goes through, and I say Ian Watson's going to be testing all this evening, but comes up with the brave plays every time he puts on the shirt.
Jamie Field again, this time he keeps a hold of the ball as he plays it, and off goes McLaughlin, and they're offside. Not square, says Gareth Hewer.
Joe McLaughlin, every time they get a quick play the ball, he's looking to go. You can see that the Leigh player's down, trying to get back into line, so he runs out, gets the ball, picks him straight up, and Armstead couldn't get back. And that's why the penalty, that's why Featherstone got the penalty.
So that takes him up to half, and they get another one, and that was a high shot.
Discipline, discipline, discipline. Neil Kelly will be sending down the message. Morrison there, the referee said it was below his neck, you've got to get it down. Whether Mike Morrison tried the thing that you can't run without your head, but they're putting themselves under all kinds of pressure early on, 4 minutes into the game.
Back-to-back penalties then allow Featherstone Rovers to move towards that Leigh line, and then Tony Tonks finds himself up in the air and going backwards. They're coming again with Field. Tom Hockey across the field, still going. Takes three of them to stop Hockey. About 12 metres out now. Kane. Jamie Field seeing plenty of the ball and gets it away well to Andy Kane, and Kane brought to the ground. They're going down that short side. Hockey gets the pass away. Kirk it was, plays that ball. Crossfield kick into the arms of Sam Smeaton. It's not, it's Kirk who's got that ball. There is Smeaton. Harris now, another kick from him. Sean McRae was spot on with his prediction that we'd see plenty of that. That time, though, Leigh dealing with the danger.
Ian Moore in the right place at the right time. Justin Harris looks like he's got so much time on the ball, and that's a sign of a class player. When you can change the tempo of your run and keep the defenders off you. Ian Moore done well there, putting the pressure from his team, and Featherstone give the penalty away now. Doing all the hard work, keeping this Leigh side down here. It's Tommy Hawk who gives that penalty away, relieves the pressure from Leigh. And Leigh now are attacking in the Featherstone half.
So a spate of penalties early on. 2-1 in favour of Featherstone Rovers at the moment. Chris Hill plays the ball. Here is Morrison. Now Andy Hobson sent off in that Northern Rail Cup tie at Featherstone. Armitstead, Player of the Year for Barrow Raiders in 2007 and ever present for them last season, but they still let him go. He has had knee problems, as you can see from that strapping on his left knee. But here come these Centurions. The ball kept alive, and then they come back in field. Now they go down the short side. Now they bring it back again. Plenty of movement from this Leigh side. That's the fifth tackle, and they are right on that Featherstone Rovers try line. As Hill plays the ball. Donlan, looping pass, finds Watson. Watson, Taylor, back to Watson. Great hands from this Leigh Centurion side. And the try, first try of the game from Nick Stanton. But such judge, not certain whether there was a foot in touch from Stanton as he took that pass, and I think there probably was.
Plenty of movement, plenty of players pushing up into that next hole. Here you can see Stanton, he steps off his left foot, he's on the line. This is going to be brought back for no try, but good build-up play for this Leigh side.
Gareth Hewitt just waiting for the verdict from the video ref Robert Hicks.
He's in touch.
And as you saw, a large red boot belonging to Nick Stanton was plonked on the whitewash. And the try is disallowed.
The ability to offload the ball. Ian Watson linking round, but there you can see Stanton's foot go into touch. But it's all about their attitude now. What's their attitude like after something like that's gone against them? What the defence is going to be like?
Thing is, Terry, it gives them great confidence, doesn't it? That's one of the first times they've been down on Featherstone's line. They've been able to run a spread play using all their options. Ian Watson been involved, and I think as much as we're going to mention Justin Harris's name tonight, I'm sure Ian Watson's going to be mentioned too if Leigh can get plenty of the ball. He's certainly very influential in the plays that Leigh run. He likes to get set up in position. He's creative. He has ability to read the play, but also to execute the pass when it needs to be, and he was very, very good on that play then.
Stuart Dickens is wrestled to the ground. What a servant he has been to this Featherstone Rovers club. Made his debut for them in 1998, and apart from one season at Salford, he has been loyal to the Rovers. Here he goes again. Goal kicking prop forward, and that's the fifth tackle. Keeping it simple straight up the middle of the field at the moment, Featherstone Rovers, and then Joe McLaughlin puts the kick in. It's a good one.
Real honest plays by Featherstone. That guy in particular, Stuart Dickens, carrying two in that set of six, trying to get them on the front foot, trying to create that real position for Justin Harris to attack. Well, this is where you earn your money, when you've got to bring the ball out. Look how tight the Featherstone defenders are. They get numbers in, 1, 2, 3, really trying to slow down the Leigh plays. Stanton's come from the other side of the pitch, trying to get them forward. See a lot of good wingers doing that, not only in the Championship, but in Super League as well.
4 tackles gone.
That's 5. Andy, 10 metres.
And they're just over the halfway line. Here is Watson with the kick. But Hardman saw that one coming, well positioned, the former Saints and Hull KR man. He spell at Widnes as well, did Ian Hardman. Very experienced, has played in some big games.
In good position for that kick, but you could see the red and white line just pushing up and really chasing that kick, because Ian Watson would have said before the game, I will get you out there, I will try and kick the ball back, you forwards, lay me the platform, get me a quick play of the ball, and I will play the game in the opposition's 20.
Spears plays the ball. Harris on to Dickens, and Dickens met by his opposite number, Morrison. Now here's Tom Saxton. Saxton wrestled to the ground just over the 40-metre line, and They really are sizing each other up, these two sides. Apart from that opportunity that Stanton had, it's largely been in the middle of the field.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Bill. Both sides at the moment are just quite happy to go through the motions. They're quite happy just to play their sets of 6 out, try and get a quick play of the ball, roll down the field, get to their kick. Both sides have some very good kickers, and they're just trying to force an error at the moment, or come up with a penalty. We've seen a couple of back-to-back penalties which will put teams under pressure.
Moore eventually gets to his feet to play that ball.
Third, move! Go.
Good darting run from McConnell, the Scottish international. Armitstead and Watson.
Kick it clear.
That's a good kick, and Saxton channeling back. Then Hardman, a bit of a looping pass which just forced Hardman to check. Lost a bit of momentum, but Saxton there to do his duty again.
But again, Ian Watson kicking on the 4th tackle, really happy to put that ball into the corner. That was a good hit by Rudd. Put it into the corner and challenge the Featherstone side to come out. Take away the field position for this Featherstone side, and Iestyn Harris, the guy who's behind to play the ball there, he needs a platform to go on. He needs a quick play of the ball. And at the minute, Leigh are winning the arm wrestle.
Tim Spears.
Tackle 4, Andy move!
4 tackles gone, and Leigh really up quickly and in the faces of this Featherstone side, but that's a good burst from Tonks, and they'll get the penalty to boot.
You'll get 10.
Too fast out the blocks.
Chris Hill it was. The referees deemed he was offside, and that's the urgency in this Leigh side to contain Featherstone. On 4 tackles, it's Chris Hill there. You can see the first man who touched the Featherstone player.
And tell you what, Terry, they're the killers, aren't they, those penalties? They've just worked and worked and worked. There's probably one more tackle before they're going to kick. Now all of a sudden, repeat set.
Well, on the 4th player there, Sean, they've restricted him to 15 metres, haven't they? So they've done all the hard work.
Absolutely. And all of a sudden now you're under pressure. How quickly it can change.
Matty Dale plays the ball on the 20-metre line for the Featherstone Rovers side. Kane running across the field and then finds Spears coming back on an angle. Spears quickly to his feet to play the ball. Bit of momentum to this Featherstone Rovers attack. Iestyn Harris taking them on himself right in front of those posts now. The ball's popped up, and Stuart Dickens, I think it is over the try line, but did he ground the ball?
Just check the ground, please, Rob.
Has Dickens got that down? He spun through the tackle, but it just looked as though as he reached out for the try line, he might have lost this.
There he goes, he's reaching out, he's trying to keep control. The Leigh players are coming in, his hand's still on the ball, he's put that try down. That's a try. That's a great reward. He'd come running in tough. On the set before this, when he had the ball, he come up with 2 players. You can see on this angle, he grounds the ball. Ian Mort tried to kick the ball out of his hand. That's a try for Stuart Dickens for me, Bill.
Has Stuart Dickens got his first try of the season for the Featherstone Rovers side and put them in the lead here.
Time on.
The try is awarded. Dickens did get it down. Captain leading from the front. And all that hard work pays off for Featherstone Rovers.
Here we go, this is where you can see he just runs hard, he picks out a man, picks out Armstead, just runs, he hits, he spins off, he grounds the ball. But Iestyn Harris on the play before, the Leigh defenders were standing off him. They were waiting for him to weave the magic. There's no magic off this guy, he just plays the game direct. And on this occasion he was direct to the block. Look at the way Iestyn Harris gets out. People are looking what he's going to do. Is he going to pass it? Is he going to take us on? No, he'll play the ball. He'll pick the ball up. And look at the guy go, Dickens, and he even swapped over the 2.
It's the era of multi-skilling.
Multi-skilled prop forwards.
Scores the try, kicks the goal.
It's like when you were youngster that whoever scored the try had to kick the goal. But he is a recognised kicker, and that man on your screen, Iestyn Harris, the more he gets the quick play the balls in the field position, the more you'll see Iestyn Harris come into the game.
It's interesting you talk about it, Terry, about why people hang off people like Iestyn Harris. You see it in the game all the time, and the reason is because they mesmerise you, because you're just not sure, because they show the football, they carry it in 2 hands, you just want to look at it. They have plenty of runners and they have a lot of options around, and they tend to sort of put you in a bit of a trance sort of state, almost hypnotic, and you just sort of hold off, and you know you shouldn't. You know you should come forward and put him under pressure. But if it was that simple, why is it that everybody doesn't do it?
He hypnotised me a few times, Sean. He sidestepped me quite a few times.
He's got plenty of people, I can tell you, over the career.
Second move.
So Featherstone Rovers ahead by 6 points to 0.
Go.
And you can see that Leigh have made a change with Aaron Smith on for the first time this season. Andy Hobson going off. Jamie Field in possession for Featherstone. There's coach Darryl Powell. Ryan Sheridan alongside him had a big night on Tuesday night, I think it was. They were at Headingley for a big reunion of the 1999 Leeds Cup winning side. Yestin Harris was there as well. And by all accounts, speaking to people who were there, it was a great night. And they're hoping that this will be a big night tonight as well, for Featherstone Rovers, that is. Ian Mort bringing the ball back.
And it's a lonely place when you fall back, isn't it? Ian Mort's got the ball, he's come forward 10 yards, he's confronted by 5 defenders. Stanton again looking for work, he's come from the left-hand side of the pitch to the right-hand side, trying to weave some magic in the middle of that part to get a one-on-one with a big guy.
Here's Chris Hill. Referee Hewer getting a fair amount of stick from the Leigh supporters, who feel that Featherstone's are very, very quick off the mark.
Wait on side, wait, go.
Play continues. Here's Aaron Smith now. Been out of the game for a while due to illness, but back in the action. Neil Kelly glad to have him back. A really experienced campaigner. Armistead puts the kick in. That's one for the wingers to chase, but Hardman across just to watch that one run out of play. Steve Maiden was bearing down on him.
Hardman cool as ever. He knew that the ball was going to run into touch there. Armistead with a neat little kick. He's been getting his hands free, and since the signing from Barrett, he's been a real find for this Leigh side. Look at the pressure. Well, there's no pressure on Hardman there. He lets the ball go into touch, should I say. But this game's all about attitude, isn't it, Sean? Is this the part where you really concentrate on the weeks leading up to a game? Do you want to defend down here?
Well, this is a part, Terry, where you want to go hunting for the ball, don't you? You don't want to give a penalty away. Worst case scenario is let them get to fifth, let them kick, and we'll come down and have another go at them without making any error. And if you can do that for lengthy periods of time, you're going to be in the game. You're going to start to dominate from a possession point of view. You'll start to dominate from a field position point of view, and you'll start to create a fatigue factor in the opposition. But Leigh have to do what they just did in their last set of 6. They have to do that time and time again.
Go.
Jamie Field.
That's 5.
5 tackles gone.
10 metres, Stu.
And
Go.
Kane picks
Inside
his
the
spot.
40.
No pressure on the Featherstone Rovers number 7, able to just drill that one down the middle of the field. Ian Mort has to stoop to pick it up. By the time he does so, the chase is good. They were all there.
And straight away to me, Bill, see, that's a win to Leigh, that set, because they're playing their first tackle outside the 20-metre zone, whereas they made Featherstone the last set come off a scrum 10 metres out from the line. So they've got an opportunity now to get some dominance. Just depends what they can do in this set of 6.
Here's Jimmy Taylor, plays the ball for this Leigh Centurion side. Watson now. Danny Meakin on the field and getting his first touch there as he plays the ball. Watson again right on that line. Outside, says Gareth Hewer, and he was that time. He probably was the first time as well.
It is like a game of chess, isn't it? You don't want to make the mistake. You don't want to give the ball to the opposition. Ian Watson and Andy Kane are just willing and sending the big guys in, getting the quick play of the balls, kicking the ball down the other end of the pitch and trying to force the error. It's a simple game.
Well, this is as simple as you're going to get, Terry. You're absolutely right. It's just there's very little ball movement. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no one being critical of it. It's just very little ball movement at the moment because both sides are trying to dominate. And when Jamie Fields just got halfway through there, they should be able to play off the back of this now.
Leigh trying their best to slow that play the ball down to prevent them capitalising on it, but good hands, certainly good hands from Saxton. Nice feet from Saxton as well. He's been out of the side with a bit of a back problem, Tom Saxton. Back tonight in place of the injured John Steele, who wasn't able to take his place. And Harris drills a kick right down the middle of the field. And again, Leigh will bring it back from deep. Ian Mort.
He's big, he's robust, Tom Saxton. He loves getting in the middle of the park and taking on the big guys. This tonight, Bill, is a game of the fullbacks. They're going to be tested, whether it be up in the air, whether it be along the floor, and both of the fullbacks are coming up trumps for their team. Just hoping that the big guys in the middle of the park don't give any silly penalties away.
Tackle 3, let's move! Hold.
There's Meakin, plays the ball, former Wigan Academy lad, Danny Meakin.
He's done some work, hasn't he, Stanton?
Well, he's ex-Wigan Academy as well, Nicky Stanton. Maiden now. That's the 5th tackle. Trying to get to his feet quickly, Steve Maiden. Watson was outside his 40 that time. One of these is going to come off for Ian Watson. That one didn't. Hardman.
Well read by Ian Hardman there. Took the ball. Skilled by Watson. Inch perfect all the time. But Ian Hardman was up for it on that occasion. Went really low for the ball. And again, it's just all about field position, the dominance, who can get on top and who will keep their cool.
Work the 10, wait for the foot, wait.
Sam Smeaton plays the ball. Now here's John Fallon.
Tackle 4.
On the field, former Hull Kingston Rovers man. Harris, little chip kick over the top. And Moore read that one well.
It's interesting, Bill, we're seeing Featherstone play a lot of short side tonight, and that maybe they've identified a player on either side that could be a defensive frailty, but certainly they're moving from the middle of the field to the short side, and they're actually staying at that side and trying to put players one-on-one with someone to look for a quick play the ball. That's probably why we haven't seen a lot of ball movement, particularly from the Featherstone side yet. They haven't really opened up. We've seen most passes just be 1 or 2. Very few has gone through a backline play yet.
Wait.
Penalty comes Leigh's way, to the delight of the Leigh Centurion supporters. Massed behind their players, well, most of them are. They're dotted around the ground.
The tackle was done. Jamie Field was in control of that play. There was no point for that little push. That's a silly little play. Giving away a cheap penalty when he'd already done all the hard work. He took him to ground, he controlled the speed of the tackle, and then give that little silly penalty away.
Leigh looking to find a little bit of urgency now.
Hold, go.
Over the 40-metre line, McConnell. Now here's Kurt Haggerty off the bench, a famous name, son of Roy and brother of Harlequins prop forward Gareth Haggerty. Kurt Haggerty, younger brother, on loan from St Helens. This is great play. This is Ian Mort. Mort at the middle, and that is a fantastic tackle from Iestyn Harris to stop Ian Mort right on the line. But they've got numbers out wide here. Surely they're going to get there. Hill, a delightful pass. They are in the corner. The try comes to the Leigh Centurions.
All right, Chris.
And Adam Rudd in at the corner.
What about the breaking play? Ian Mort, he's been absolutely everywhere. He's been tested at the back of the pitch, and he turns up Trump. He's sniffing around the middle of the park.
Okay, Rob.
The Leigh players stay on the feet. Ian Mort goes, he thinks he's going to get to the line. It's all about the reload. Ian Watson organising out wide. And look at this, Chris Hill. He's been watching Matt Gidley. And a neat little pass out wide to Adam Rudd. This Leigh side are back into this game. McConnell with the pass. Look at that. Engages the winger. Pulls the Featherstone winger in. And there's no one in Cooey. And Adam Rudd goes in at the corner.
As you can see, playing in his first appearance of the season. Had 1 or 2 injury problems, Adam Rudd. And making an impact with that try. And Ian Mort already making an impact this evening. He's been heavily involved in this game. And already kicked 35 goals this season for Neil Kelly's side. But this a tricky touchline conversion for the Leigh Centurions fullback. Came through the academy system here at Leigh. And this to level the scores. He's given it a great shot, and it's just drifted wide of the target.
Ian.
But it's Leigh Centurions 4, Featherstone Rovers 6 now. And Adam Rudd's try, getting Leigh into the game and off the mark.
Interesting to note too, Bill, that both tries so far tonight have come from penalties. Team seemingly in control on tackle 3, tackle 4, penalty given away, opportunity for repeat set, and there's pressure. This is very, very well finished here. Chris Hill, lovely little scoop pass out to Adam Rudd, and that takes some skill. You're still under pressure. They had the numbers in that try. They had the numbers. They should have scored. That was a pressure pass. It was very well delivered.
Meakin came thundering back with that ball and then met some pretty fierce Featherstone Rovers defence as well, which then drove him back whence he came. Aaron Smith now on a World Club challenge with the Bradford Bulls. And Featherstone Rovers looking to just restrict lead, just to nip this fight back from the Centurions in the bud.
Tackle 4.
4 tackles gone. Chris Hill plays that ball. McConnell with a quick scoot, makes good progress. McConnell, Haggerty, great offload from Haggerty. Watson's got support, but he can't get the ball to them, and he's well tackled in the end. Trying to get to his feet, Kane was all over him. Booming pass out wide, finds Haggerty. Haggerty will take him on, it's on the last. He's still going. He can't get the ball away, that'll be the turnover, but that was very nearly a spectacular try for the Leigh Centurions.
What about Leigh promoting the ball? McConnell engaging the half. It was Kurt Haggerty that went through on the next play. And what a fantastic play by Featherstone to hold him up. That guy, Kurt Haggerty, is one big, strong guy. And he thought he was over in that for a try in the corner. But again, something goes against you and you give a penalty away. You've got to be disciplined. You've got to concentrate. These are absolutely coach killers, these, Sean, aren't they?
Well, they are, Terry. I mean, what happens here? Featherstone have a break. They advance up the field. It's not a great kick from Yeston Harris, but he's gained 15 metres, and it's 15 metres that might have taken 2 or 3 tackles to do and taken a little bit more out of you. But all of a sudden, you now start your set on the 30-metre line, and that's just not going to be anywhere near good enough for Leigh to be able to sustain any pressure.
Problems for Featherstone Rovers, because in back play, Sam Smeaton is really hobbling and looking for some attention, which is arriving, and he's out of play at the moment on this near wing.
Tackle 3, move!
Meanwhile, Featherstone in possession on the halfway line. They lead by 6 points to 4. Smeaton seems to be an ankle problem as play continues. Here's Jack Lee.
That's 4.
And there's several ex-Castleford players in the Featherstone Rovers side. Tom Saxton, there's another one. It's McLaughlin who's gone off to be replaced by Lee. Harris. Smeaton still hobbling in back players. Mort gathers that, and Ian Mort is having a big influence, and guess who's facing him? Sam Smeaton on one leg, and Smeaton desperately puts the tackle in, gets to his feet. He's in all sorts of trouble, and so are Featherstone, who concede the penalty.
Spears not coming up with the right kind of tackle. He didn't dominate Mort. Mort just seems to be cutting this Featherstone side to ribbons. Look at this, he goes up, he commands that ball, he shouts for it. Stanton was in his eyes shut, but no, he gets the ball and he just sets straight off up the pitch.
First move!
Well, Sam Smeaton is still out there, still hobbling, no sign of a replacement. Poor guy is playing on one leg.
Move!
As Leigh look to take advantage of this situation. And the ball lost in the tackle, a knock on, and Featherstone will get it back. And I think that's an opportunity maybe to get Stuart Kane on, is it?
Stuart Donlan trying to offload the ball. You can see he puts the ball down, he tries to wangle it out somehow. But the Featherstone defenders were all over him, too strong. And Stuart Donlan on that occasion lost the grip. Smeaton going off. You're right, Billy's been struggling for a few plays.
And Stuart Kane it is who's coming on the far side of the field to take his place. Here's Jamie Field now.
Second move!
So Leigh just maybe beginning to open up a little bit. That's a couple of times they've found gaps in this Featherstone Rovers defence. And Featherstone have had to come up with some desperate defence. But it's Featherstone in possession at the moment. Big hit on John Fallon.
And you can hear the Leigh players shouting to each other, twist him, turn him on his back, dominate him.
And they're dominating Jamie Field there, and the crowd liking that. And Leigh, since they scored that try, have upped the ante a little bit.
In the 40.
The pressure then. Three Leigh players come putting all kinds of pressure on the kicker, but against Stanton, he looks a little live wire, doesn't he?
Denied a try, just put a foot on the touchline early on in the game, Nicky Stanton. That was a good run from him.
Second move! Hold. Go.
Off goes Steve Maiden now. And that was a high shot from,
Round his neck.
I think it was Matty Dale who was the culprit.
Is the pressure starting to get to this Featherstone side? The talk was all about Iestyn Harris coming, and it was all going to be the Iestyn Harris show. But the Featherstone's team are not giving him a platform to go up, and Matty Dale on that occasion, another cheap penalty.
Well, there's another Welsh international, Ian Watson, and to young Kurt Haggerty.
Iestyn, move! Go.
Haggerty gets to his feet to play the ball. Here's Chris Hill now, and Hill, change of... Oh, and Hill with an adventurous offload. Didn't really need to do that, and Neil Kelly will be tearing his hair out with that.
Well, he had a lot of confidence, didn't he, Chris Hill, after the way that he threw that ball to set up the try for Adam Rudd. But this particular play, it's not really on. He probably got a call from the Leigh player going through the hole, and he's just sort of pushed that past. But again, that just takes the pressure off the Featherstone side, who I've got to say was starting to look a little bit tired to me. They were all over the place defensively, not coming forward, and that's what happens when you've got to defend for a couple of sets of six. This will give them some respite now. If they can advance the ball down the field here through a good kick and good chase and put a bit of pressure on Leigh.
Well, on the last, and Kane was seemingly in two minds there, but now he's got away, and he'll put a little chip kick in, and it's in the wrong direction, and across comes Stanton to gather the ball, and Andy Kane just took the wrong option there.
Well, he took the wrong option, Bill, but he got away with it. He was in awful trouble. He was going to get picked up on the 40-metre line, and it was going to turn the ball over. And even that is possibly the wrong option, but he's advanced. At least he advanced his team about 50 metres down the field.
And he also collected a little bit of Nicky Stanton as he came in on the follow-up that Andy Kane there.
That's four.
And Stanton's still in trouble. Ooh.
Wait for the foot, wait.
I'm sure Nicky Stanton will get up after that. He'll be a big...
Well, I tell you what, he's not at the moment, Terry.
No, he's not, but he will. He's got the magic sponge on, Bill.
Tackle 5.
Oh, and it's the magic spray as well. He's having a drink of water.
And a knock-on by Leigh. Armitstead, furious, not so much with that decision, but with himself.
That's a poor play. You dress that up any way you like. That is just a poor play, the ball. There's really no contact there with anyone. He's got an opportunity to get to his feet and play it. He just loses the ball. That's really what I would call an unforced error, and that's put them under enormous pressure. Now Featherstone, again, will look to capitalise here.
Well, it's got Featherstone Rovers into a good position. Here's Tom Saxton. Saxton. Well, the pass out the back wasn't a good one. And it's forced Featherstone Rovers into the retreat. And Spears it was who gathered the ball.
Go.
Now with Dickens, their try-scorer, goal kicker.
Go.
The reason that they're ahead by 6 points to 4 here.
Tackle 3.
Fallon, 3 tackles gone.
Go.
30 metres out. Kane, Harris now. Harris had to just bend to take that pass.
4.
And then got tackled by Watson.
To your feet.
2 former Welsh internationals going head-to-head there.
Tackle 5.
That's the 5th tackle.
Hold.
As Dickens tries to get to his feet to play the ball. Hill was all over him on the last now. Harris flings a pass out. Kane ducks. Kirk it was who ducked. And it goes out of play.
Hand over.
Just watching Iestyn Harris on that set of 6 then, and the expectation of all the players around him is give Iestyn the ball. And you need to... I don't know whether that's too much pressure on him, because imagine if he was playing at Leeds, if he was playing at Bradford, there's players around him that'll cause some problems, but Iestyn Harris, he seems to be the expectation of the players around him. He needs to do the work.
Yeah, you're right, Terry. Look, that play was on. The execution was poor. The other thing about when you play with an inspirational player, and I think we put Iestyn Harris in the category of one of the better players to play the game. Everybody, he thinks probably a lot quicker, and things he does. There's some players out there that are still probably learning to react to that, at this level. And as I said, Iestyn, the only thing Iestyn got wrong there was his pass. The decision he made was right.
Work at 10.
Leigh Centurions in possession. Stanton very nearly losing that ball. And they're on halfway.
That's 5.
That's the 5th tackle.
Make a 10. It's good.
And Watson puts the kick in, crossfield. We saw problems for Sam Smeaton a short time ago for Featherstone Rovers. Let's find out how he's doing with Ben Pro on the sidelines.
That's right, Bill. Sam Smeaton desperately trying to make that tackle 8 or so moments ago. He's been replaced by Stuart Kane. It's the right knee that's the problem. He's strained his ligament. They've got eye supply to the injury. When I asked if it was 50-50, the medical team said, well, slightly better than that. They're hoping to get him back out there.
That's 3. 2 feet line. You, Andy. Let's go.
Featherstone Rovers in possession. And they've gone into their shell a bit since taking that lead. It's been Leigh Centurions who've dominated most of the game. Andy Kane. Field gets the pass away, does well to get it to Hockey. And Hockey did well to react to that, and he's done really well there, has Hockey. Hardman was in support. Hardman trying to get to his feet to play the ball quickly. Donlan clinging on there, chancing his arm. Andy Kane hoists the kick. It's a good one. Stanton is underneath it, recovered from that knock he took, and fields the ball well, does Mickey Stanton.
And again, no real pressure. The Featherstone chasers were offside, so they couldn't go within 10 yards of Stanton when he called that ball. But you're right, this Featherstone side don't seem to be coming up with anything at the minute, and that has got to go down to the credit of Ian Watson, who's on the Leigh side. The number 7, he just keeps turning them around, and we keep saying it, but your kicking game and your chase is so important in the modern day game of rugby league.
Armitstead to his feet to play the ball. He was the National League 2 Player of the Year last season, Dave Armitstead.
Tackle 5. Move.
That's the 5th tackle. Now then, Watson.
In the 40.
Straight down the middle of the field to virtually into the arms of Ian Hardman. Not Ian Watson's best kick, and Hardman able to build up a bit of pace to run that ball back towards the Centurions.
Not Ian Watson's best kick, but again, a very good kick chase by the big guys in the middle of the park, looking to dominate, looking to get numbers in, trying to get 1, 2, 3 into the tackle, trying to turn them over. On that occasion, they didn't do it.
Good kick chase, Terry, but you should be able to, as now the attacking side, you should be able to do something with this ball, because your first player's at the 35-metre line, and you can see now how Featherstone have advanced up to 40 metres out from the try line, and they should be able to operate something here and at least now build some pressure.
Oh, Kane, that was high.
Or get a penalty.
Andy Hobson in trouble there.
Calm down.
And as mentioned earlier, Andy Hobson sent off against Featherstone in that Northern Rail Cup, and protesting his innocence, but really,
you can see that is just a lazy swing. His feet were all wrong, his hips were facing the wrong way. He's devastated with himself, but again, it's a cheap penalty, isn't it? You can see the footwork there. Kane swings it. Featherstone are going to go for the 2 points here that's on offer. And Andy Hobson, just as Leigh were building all the pressure up the other end of the pitch, come down here on the 30-yard line. Andy Hobson gives a penalty, 2 points to Leigh.
As lazy as it was, I'm going to give him a little bit of credit there, because he pulled out. He could have taken the player's head off. Was it Jack Leigh that was involved in the tackle, and or was it Andy Kane, Bill?
Andy Kane.
Andy Kane, I'm sorry, I apologise, but he could have taken his head off there. He was in a position there. It was lazy. He was in poor position, but he actually pulled out, and you can see that he realises what he's done. He's got out. Maybe that's a sign of an experienced player.
Well, it's given Stuart Dickens an opportunity to extend his side's lead from about 30 metres out. Casual swing of the boots, and Dickens extends that lead to 8 points to 4, an indication of how close this game's going to be. It was 10-6 in that Northern Rail meeting 2 minutes earlier in the season. Well, this one shaping up to be just as close.
Neil Kelly already making his notes, as is Darryl Powell.
About 2.
I'm sure if you go into half-time, Sean, the word that's got to be mentioned is discipline. Do not give field position away. Do not give penalties away. You go a long way to winning the game, because there's nothing in this game, is there?
There's nothing at all, and both sides will know that. Both sides know it, both coaching staffs know it, that there's really been, the scoreline is probably an indication of what's happened so far for 38 minutes. It may change in the next 2 minutes, who knows?
Move! Hold,
But Leigh have the ability to win a tough battle. They showed that against Widnes when they beat them 10-8. That's no mean feat to win 10-8 at Widnes, and they've got the ball back. They'll get the ball back with head and feet at this scrum. The error.
The knock on, the referee said, Gareth Hewer knocks on 28 yards from his line. Leigh were really quick to form that scrum. knowing that the clock's running down. They've got 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Aaron Smith still on his feet. He's lost that ball. He was trying to offload it, and possession is squandered by Leigh Centurions, and Aaron Smith, desperately trying to keep that alive, was just looking for somebody.
He was looking for a Leigh player to get behind him. Obviously in rugby league, you can only pass the ball backwards. There was no player behind him in support. That's a real letdown for Neil Kelly. As Tommy Hockey goes through the line.
Hockey breaking again. Nobody on his shoulder. Kirk was trying to get there.
Go.
Andy Kane now. Kane looping past to Yestin Harris. Harris out to Stuart Kane, cousin of Andy. Kane scrabbling on the floor for that ball.
Second. Hey, Andy. Away for the foot.
Into the final minute of this first half. Featherstone Rovers leading by 8 points to 4. Armitstead has snapped that one up. Donlan on his shoulder. Donlan looking for a speed merchant. Nobody there.
What about the excitement? Both of these teams in the last minute know that it's getting close to half-time. Whoever's got the ball, obviously in a very good chance. Look at that. Armitstead to Donlan. Leigh again. He's been strong this first half, and again,
Armitstead doing well to offload there, and here's Haggerty. Haggerty, an intelligent kick. Stanton will chase it. He's beaten Kane. Stanton on the inside, but that was a good tackle from Hardman. Just got a bit of the winger. The danger's not over yet. Haggerty was there. Nobody else was. Watson takes him on himself. That was high. Will they go for the 2 here? It was a high shot. I think it was John Fallon who was the culprit. Watson is still down.
Watson taking the ball to the line, trying to get through. Dickens really close. He's got to go for 2 points this. Watson still not moved on the floor.
What a great kick from Haggerty that was.
What a good chase again by Stanton. He's absolutely all over the field tonight, this youngster.
Was it John or was it
still in trouble on the ground?
John Fallon.
John Fallon, I think, is an anxious man after that tackle. Gareth Hewer communicating with his video ref, Robert Hicks, just to identify the culprit. And that was the shot.
Yeah, no, give you the benefit of the doubt. It's still high. We've got to grip your actions, all right? We've got to be responsible.
Well, Watson is only just getting to his feet. John Fallon has just got off with a talking to from the referee for that.
Go for goal.
And they will close out the final seconds of this first half with an attempt at goal, will Leigh Centurions.
Interesting, the referee said, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. What was
the doubt?
Yeah, what was the doubt? That you didn't hit him round the head. So I find that staggering. I'm sure he knows what he meant, but it just... it sort of makes me laugh a little bit there with the benefit of the doubt. Does that mean he was thinking about
whether it was malicious or...
Well, he's thinking about putting him in the bin or something, maybe. I don't think it was a send-off, but maybe he could have sin-binned him there, I don't know. But I'm sure this will be a pretty simple kick anyway, Bill, to finish off the first half.
It's Ian Mort who'll do the kicking, and this one only just to the left of the posts as Mort looks at it. And to narrow the gap, the hooter will sound after he's kicked that. He has done, and Ian Mort very much in the thick of it for his side in this first half. Good work at full-back, but also kicking the goals. And Leigh 6, Featherstone Rovers 8 now as the sides head for the dressing rooms. Featherstone Rovers at a jog. And Neil Kelly knows that this is going to be a real arm wrestle all the way. As we've seen in the first half, not a lot in it between these two sides. There wasn't the first time they met in the season, and it shows every indication of being just as close this time round. At the moment, though, it's Featherstone Rovers who are ahead.
It's a Grand Slam summer on Sky Sports with the Lions back in South Africa.
Oh yes! A glorious moment! Hold it!
Every ball of the World 2020.
Oh, that's big. Oh, that's big.
England in the European Under-21 finals.
Oh, brilliant!
And
The drama's not over yet.
the Ashes. All in stunning high definition on Sky Sports Grand Slam summer.
An SUV doesn't have to cost the earth. Imagine if we could start with a blank canvas.
At Halifax, we understand that buying a new home can leave you a bit stretched. So choose a mortgage from our new range and we'll pay half your first year's council tax. Just apply by the 23rd of May. A little extra help from Halifax.
President Emmental is only cut from the best part of the wheel for a delicious, sweet, nutty taste.
Mom! What, darling? Nothing.
President, no ordinary Emmental.
Ever had that feeling that your love life is spiralling out of control? You've made a life-changing decision and promised to organise a make-or-break trip to Rome, and then, at the crucial moment when you absolutely had to book the last 2 remaining flights, you suddenly lost internet connection. And then you realise that was all just a bad dream.
Nobody gives you a better wireless connection than BT Total Broadband. Stay connected. Call 0800 317 316.
You could earn 35k or more a year.
That's better. So crowded.
Noisy too. Got a cheese one?
It's nice to take the weight off your feet.
What sort of cheese was that?
An intrepid traveller once set off in search of truly authentic ingredients. In the volcanic hills of Indonesia, he marvelled as they swayed among the trees, picking fiery black peppercorns. Then he floated these treasures all the way home. That traveller was Phileas Fogg, and you'll find his name on our sea salt and Indonesian black peppercorn crisps. Phileas Fogg, made with a world of authentic ingredients.
Wicks has worked hard to create a range of 27 beautiful kitchens, filled with contemporary design features at affordable prices. That's why we're proud to put our name on them. And now they're available with up to 50% off. It's got our name on it. Wicks.
Here's the deal. At Sainsbury's, loads of health and beauty products are now half price. Look good, spend less.
There's a choice of live action on Friday night on Sky Sports. We've got live Super League at St Helens take on the Bradford Bulls. That's at 7:30 on Sky Sports 1 and HD1. And there's boxing as Don Broadhurst takes on Asamoah Wilson. That's at 10 o'clock on Sky Sports 1. And there's under-18s football. The Republic of Ireland against England. That's at 7:30 on Sky Sports 2. Well, as you can see, it is close here at the Leigh Sports Village Stadium, with Leigh trailing by 6 points to 8, just 1 try apiece, and the goals, Mort for Leigh and Dickens 2 for Featherstone Rovers. And we anticipated a close contest. It was just that in the Northern Rail Cup, 10-6 earlier in the season, Featherstone triumphing, and we looked at the sides, Terry, we looked at the packs and said this is going to be close, and it's shaping up that way.
It was always going to be big, it was going to be tough, it was going to be physical. The kicking game was going to be so important. Ian Watson's kicking game has just been turning by those Leigh players. They're having to retreat, bring the ball back. It's the discipline in the game that I think is the big key to who goes on and wins this game. It's 5 penalties each in the first half, and I'm sure Neil Kelly and Darryl Powell will be saying in there, you've got to really compose yourself. Do not give soft penalties away.
I think it's significant that after a bit of sparring early doors between the two sides, the first try came from a forward.
Yeah, it was, and Stuart Dickens played really well in that first half. He's really run onto the ball very strong, aggressively. In this set of 6, it took 2 up to the ball. Easton Harris gets out, and people just are mesmerised by what he's doing. They're waiting for him to come up with a big play. He gets up, they don't turn him on his back. Stuart Dickens just runs really hard, runs straight, runs strong, and gets that try for the Featherstone side. This try was absolutely fantastic. Chris Hill gets the ball. He's been watching Matt Gidley. He flicks the ball out, he attracts the winger, and it was Adam Rudd who went over in the corner. But there is nothing in this game whatsoever, Bill. It could go either way. If you control the ball, you don't give daft penalties away, you've got a very good chance of winning this game.
And what is going to be the crucial aspect in the second half, do you feel? I mean, neither side's kicking game has been that hot, has it?
No, but I think both fullbacks, let's credit Ian Hardman and Ian Mort at the back. They've been pressured with high kicks, low kicks. They've come up trumps on all occasions. And I think that this game is really in the bag. I've been very impressed as well with Nicky Stanton. If the ball's not on the left-hand side for the Leigh side, he goes over to the other side. He's looking for work all the time.
Well, it's evenly balanced, and I think discipline is going to be the key as well. 5 penalties apiece in that first half. We saw Fallon running it very close, sailing very close to the wind at the end of the first half. So it is going to be very tense, very tight in the second half. But at the moment, it's Featherstone Rovers who are just ahead, but Leigh Centurions desperately looking for their first home win in the championship this season, and they've got every chance of finding that in the second half.
From time to time, things require updating. That's why, over the next few months, Sky is posting a new viewing card to all of its Sky TV customers. The new card replaces the existing card, located in the front of your Sky box. When it arrives, simply replace your existing card to make sure you don't experience problems with your viewing. For more information, visit skyviewinghelp.com.
Hello, mate. Weeds. They really are relentless little blighters. If you don't kill the leaves and the roots, some keep coming back. Resolver 24H does both, giving you visible results in 24 hours. And no more roots means no more weed. Resolve your weed problem with Resolver 24H.
Drip by drip, your inkjet printer is costing you money every single time you print. Last year, the UK spent a staggering £600 million on inkjet printer ink. Seems like a lot. Don't you wish you could pay less for ink and save money for the more important things in life? Switch to a Kodak all-in-one printer and enjoy high-quality, low-cost ink. Find out how much money you could save at printandprosper.com.
See the film critics are calling gripping, outstanding. Russell Crowe, Ben Affleck, Rachel McAdams, and Helen Mirren. State of Play.
At HSBC Premier, we can arrange replacement cards and up to $2,000 the next day, giving you the latitude to explore all the world has to offer.
When your car insurance is due, you want to check that you're getting the right cover for the right price, don't you?
Courtesy car, legal protection. With GoCompare.com's special 5-star rating system, you can compare what's included in each policy.
And don't forget, When you visit GoCompare.com, you can also compare quotes from more car insurance companies than any other price comparison website.
So for the right car insurance at the right price, go compare at GoCompare.com.
Why go compare anywhere else?
There's live Super League action coming up on Sky Sports over the weekend. Can Bradford Bulls bounce back at St Helens? 7:30, Sky Sports 1, HD1, the place to be to find out. And that is followed by Super League Extra Time, which is available via the red button. We'll have match analysis and interviews, and it's also somewhere on the web as well, if you seek it out. And then on Saturday, more Super League from the Willows as Salford City Reds take on Hull FC, 6 o'clock, Sky Sports 2 and HD2. Here at the Leigh Sports Village Stadium, it's Leigh Centurions 6, Featherstone Rovers 8, Leigh Sports Village Stadium. It makes it sound as though it's some little rural country park, but I tell you what, this is a lovely little ground, and they're seeing quite a game here. The first time this has hosted a Sky Sports game, and it's Featherstone Rovers led by Stuart Dickens, who are in charge at the moment. Well, in charge is probably putting it a little bit strongly. They are just ahead. Nobody is in charge of this game.
This game is in the balance. If there's any game and any teams that can do well in this championship, it's both of these sides. I think Lee and Neil Kelly would have said at half-time that the Featherstone team went up to Whitehaven last week. They scored 32 points in the second half. So this Featherstone side can score the points. Can Lee keep the discipline? That's the big question, isn't it, Sean?
You're absolutely right, Terry. The thing, the instructions I would have given at half-time actually would have been probably one very simple one: lift the intensity of your play, because that first 40 minutes to me was all too slow. It was just straight away we've got an error here, and that's going to put pressure on Leigh Centurions. Give Featherstone the ball 15 metres out. First play of the game.
Andy Hobson again trying to go play the ball. You've got to really control that ball. You've been in the changing rooms, you've been addressed by the coach, and you've really got to get out and start strong.
And here's Hockey, and Hockey almost away. They had to come back and get him.
Hold, go.
It was Haggerty with the tackle, but they're threatening here right at the start of the second half. Jamie Field upended. Kane finds Harris. Here is Andy Kane. Good defence from Leigh Centurions, right up in his face. Was Donlan. Harris drifts the pass across the face of two other players and finds Jamie Field. Harris fires the ball out to Hardman, and Hardman is in, and that is the dream start to the second half, but not allowed.
Robert, can you just check the last play of the ball to see if you play the ball?
And Gareth Hewer asking Robert Hicks to have a look at that last play of the ball. Some suspicion about that. The Leigh Centurions players questioning it. Hardman hoping that it's all legit.
The Featherstone players just getting back to the line, seeing if there's a knock on there.
That'll be harsh if that's disallowed.
That will be very harsh. That was like an Andy Gregory play of the ball from years ago.
Jamie Field it was.
Well, can I just butt in for a sec? My understanding is that you can't rule on that. You can only rule from when that play starts. That's my understanding. I've discussed that with the league before, so I'm not sure whether they're looking for that or if they're looking for an instruction here.
Well, they're now looking at the grounding, so you'd imagine that that play the ball has been cleared. That's no problem. Hardman getting his 5th try of the season, surely. Gareth Hewer, though, waiting for the decision. Try is awarded. Couldn't have wished for a better start, and it came courtesy of that error from Andy Hobson, spilling the ball, and Featherstone Rovers had taken full advantage of it.
Neil Kelly would have wished for a better start in this second half. Andy Hobson trying to regain his feet. He loses the ball. You've got to control the ball as well as your discipline. Well, this is just sheer movement. Justin Harris again, ball to the line. Ian Hardman arcs round on a real good line, and it's just about speed. Catches the Leigh defenders flat-footed, and there's nothing they can do to stop this Featherstone team and that man in your picture, Ian Hardman, from scoring that try.
Now Stuart Dickens looking to extend the lead again. A delicate chip with the boot. You'd imagine a prop forward would really welly it, but Stuart Dickens just stroked that one successfully, and his side are ahead by 14 points to 6 now.
There are prop forwards out there, Bill, with a bit of clash, you know.
Yes. They're not all bull in a china shop, is that what you're saying?
Not. You're just looking at me then, aren't you?
Well, there we go. Yes, and Harris throws a nice little behind ball there to Ian Hardman, who goes over and scores a try. A pretty simple put down for Ian Hardman. I go back to that play the ball, Bill, and I was talking to Stuart Cummings some time ago about this, and we were talking about when a video referee decision starts, and it actually starts from basically when the ball has been played. So my understanding is you cannot ask for something at that play the ball, because that is the end of that tackle. So the play the ball starts when that dummy half effectively has passed the ball. The ball has cleared the ruck.
Well, thankfully, it then didn't become significant. The try stood. Just talking about goal-kicking props, got Stuart Dickens an example in the modern-day prop forward, of course, you know.
Modern day. I was never modern day. There's no point in passing the ball when I play. Just get the ball and run as hard as you can.
So Featherstone Rovers ahead by 14 points to 6. Not the start that Leigh were hoping for, having cut the gap at the end of the first half with that penalty, immediately finding themselves a bit further behind and sitting on the sidelines, one of their more experienced players, Anthony Stewart. We can hear from him now with Ben.
Anthony, it was nip and tuck in that Northern Rail Cup earlier in the year. It was nip and tuck tonight until that terrible start to the second half. What do you expect at the end of this one?
It's going to be a close game. We're both completing well. It was just a bit of a mislapse them in concentration defence, but I think Leigh and Featherstone will probably just come down to one man doing something magic, but break the defence.
And of course, St Helens against Bradford live on Sky Sports tomorrow. That's one that's close to your heart.
Oh yeah, they've always been good matches, them. After you play Bradford, you always come off feeling like you've been in a war. They're not going the best at the moment, but I think it'll be a really tight, good game.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
40-20 attempts that Tom Saxton was wise to. Brings that ball back for Featherstone Rovers. Now then, can they consolidate on this start that they've been given, really? They've been handed in the second half. They've taken advantage of it, sure. Can they build on this and put a bit of daylight between themselves and the Centurions? Here's Saxton again.
That's better defence by Leigh, turning Saxton onto his back. Buys his teammates extra few yards to get back, get off the line. And you talk about when you're a coach and when you're a player, the first 3 steps, you've really got to get off, push really hard and try and dominate.
That's 5.
That's the 5th tackle.
Watson, 10 metres.
As Dickens gets to his feet to play the ball. Kane goes himself, picks up well, great work from Kane, but Jamie Field is collared. But for a moment, that was turning out to be spectacular. Little kick and nice hands from Andy Kane.
Confidence from Andy Kane. Instead of putting it to the corner, he saw a little gap, just dinked it over, bent down, got the ball.
Matty, I give you a benefit of doubt before.
But again, a penalty. There's nothing in this game apart from these penalties. Piggybacks up the pitch. The referee, Gareth Hughes, said he's warned him before, he's not warning him again.
Here we are. Let's go.
Dave Armitstead now. And this is the first real opportunity that Leigh have had in the second half to take a pop at this Featherstone Rovers defence. Here's Andy Hobson.
Second movement.
Only knows one way, that's straight up the middle. Didn't like the attention he received from Joe McLaughlin there, for Jack Leigh, I think it was. Big hit.
Dominant. Go.
That was Andy Kirk with the shot.
And if you come out the line, you've got to make sure you get your man. And Andy Kirk read that and timed it perfectly.
So Leigh going down the short side.
John, come on, 10 metres.
Rudd plays the ball. And that'll be the turnover. Neil Kelly not impressed, on his feet, talking to his assistant Paul Rowley.
Go on, Tim. Let's go.
They might not be impressed, but they're in the corner, they're 10 yards out from the line. Leigh defence can really jam in so tight. The big forwards love defending here because they're shoulder to shoulder with the teammate. They can get off the line as they're doing now and really look to try and put a shot on.
Hold, go.
Dickens plays the ball. Kane. It's Jamie Field again. He's got through plenty of work. That was a high shot. That was not a high shot, a lift rather. Sam Ray, it was the guilty party.
Sam Ray picked Jamie Field's legs up. That's illegal in rugby league. You can't do that. A dangerous tackle, a spear tackle is what we call it.
Almost became one, didn't it?
Almost did. But it's the penalty. And again, relieving the pressure.
And like I gave Andy Hobson the benefit of the doubt before, I think we've got to give Sam Ray the benefit of the doubt. He realised he'd put him in a potentially dangerous position, And I do feel that Sam Reid pulled out. If you go through those tackles, you never know what can happen. And I think that just shows in a split second how a player can make a decision under pressure.
Fallon now on the charge. Plays the ball about 35 metres out for Featherstone Rovers. Yestin Harris changes direction and it hit Fallon and went backwards. Hit him on the head, says Gareth Hewitt.
That was a great header by Fallon. Look at that. Straight in the back of the net. But here he is taking the ball forward. Knew he'd come up with a mistake, and he's been really impressive. He stood up strong last week against the Whitehaven. Big physical pack, and he's standing up again tonight.
So's Jamie Field, and Field almost got that ball out of the tackle. He had support on his shoulder from Matty Dale. On the last, it's with Jack Lee, and Lee is held up just short. He's got the ball away, and Hockey will claim the try, will he? Gareth Hewitt taking a good look, and Tom Hockey claims another try for Featherstone Rovers, and Jack Lee take a bow.
What an effort from Jack Lee to stay on his feet, not go to ground, take the tackle, but to promote that ball to Tom Hockey. You've got to be in the right place at the right time. But this is great strength. He sees that the Lee players aren't set. He double pumps the ball. He attracts Sam Ray and Ian Mort. Look at that for strength and skill. Andy Hobson comes in, tries to put him to ground, but he's that strong, Jack Lee. He stays really firm. This is the penalty that Sam Ray gave away. It marched them down the pitch. Jack Lee gets out. He gets really strong, double pumps. Sam Ray tries to put him to ground. Andy Hobson comes in, tries to add his weight. That is a good skill and a good bit of strength to get Tom Hockey in for the try.
And Stuart Dickens, a 100% success rate tonight to stretch Featherstone Rovers' lead, which he has done. And now Featherstone Rovers do have a measure of control of this game as they're ahead by 20 points to 6. And Darryl Powell, well, he can be satisfied with the way his side have started this second half, that's for sure.
Certainly can, Bill, and Joe McLaughlin there running the last play option. I think Yestin Harris was keen to get the ball on the other side. When you commit 4 guys into a tackle and you can slip a ball like that, then it was worth running the last play. One thing I mentioned just the second half started, I believe the instructions would have been very simple to both sides, and that would have been go out there and start a little bit quicker than you finish that half, because I thought the first half, both sides, to be perfectly honest, were a little bit slow. They were kind of going through the motions for me. I think it was one team had to get a little bit of tempo. If they both started off with the same tempo, I don't think we're seeing this scoreline, but clearly Featherstone have won that battle. They've had a little bit of fortune. You need that in a game, but to me, they've been a lot more powerful. They've been prepared to take some risks, but they've certainly lifted their intensity. Lee haven't had the opportunities just yet, but there's plenty of time left on the clock.
Good work again from Jack Lee. Now Kane up to the 40-metre line. Of course, Featherstone Rovers looking to improve a miserable record in this part of the world. Haven't won in Leigh since 1999 when they won 17 points to 4. 8 visits since then without a win. So this could be a bit of a milestone from the Featherstone Rovers perspective. Let's hear some half-time news from Ben.
Discipline, the key word in both camps, Bill, at half-time. Featherstone obviously started the better in this second period, but they've got one of the negatives, and that's the condition of Sam Smeaton. We saw him go off in that first half. He definitely won't be coming back. It's straightened right knee ligament that's the problem. He could face 6 weeks on the sideline, so that's a real problem for Darryl Powell's men.
Kurt Haggerty gets to his feet to play that ball. So Leigh need to find something to just get back into this game again, and well, Watson did, but Armitstead, I think, has a point claiming that he was taken out as he was looking to support Watson.
He's looking to the referee, he's looking to the sideline, to the touch judge. Yep. Watson gets the ball, he pumps it, pulls it
Armitstead
back in.
is taken out by Hockey.
Taken out.
He should look up here because we can tell him that he's right. That is a penalty.
Let him get his head in.
Well, we saw an incident like that in Super League, I think, last weekend, and it was penalised.
I'm just looking for where the referee is there, because it's easy sitting up here looking at it on the replay, but when you're down there and you've got to see it, and maybe it is the touch judge's job to do that, but on that occasion they didn't get the penalty, and Featherstone have got the ball.
And Featherstone have the lead by 20 points to 6 after a great start to the second half. Of course, Featherstone will be back here in a few weeks' time to play Oldham in the quarter-finals of the Northern Rail Cup. And they're on the attack again, and Andy Kane trying to do the soft shoe shuffle. Ian Mort, having none of it, makes the tackle. Field, good pass from Field. Hockey, Saxton using his strength but runs out of room. Touch judge gets his flag up.
Tried everything. Gareth Hughes going to the video referee, Robert Hicks. The touch judge was confident in his own call, saying that Tom Saxton had gone into touch. He hadn't gone into touch there. Look how strong Tom Saxton is. There he goes into touch. The touch judge was right on mark. He saw that. He was confident in his call. But Gareth Hughes was just saying that he couldn't see if Tom Saxton had gone into touch. But again, good build-up play from this Featherstone side, gaining in confidence as this second half goes on.
Gareth Hughes just wanting to know how to restart the game. No doubt that Tom Saxton didn't get that ball down. Saxton furious. The chance maybe should have been a bit better.
He tried everything there.
But the pass to him just wasn't maybe where he wanted it.
He put him under a lot of pressure there, and Tommy Saxton's been around the game a long time, and he used his strength to get rid of one defender, but it was terrific defence at the end there. Let me say that's a terrific decision by the video ref. I know he's got the use of the footage, but you know, there's a lot of people would have, even the players were lining up there for a 20-metre restart, but Tommy Saxton went into touch, and he and it was a correct decision.
So we restart with the scrum. Leigh Centurions in possession and on the break. Now then, can Morrison find some support? Morrison still looking for some support. Still going. He'll play the ball. Should he have given the pass to Durbin, maybe?
It was more like the Samoan sidestep that. He picked the fullback straight out.
But they're still on the charge here. Watson with Adam Rudd. Rudd with one try to his name already tonight. Trying to get to his feet quickly to play the ball. Can't do so. The pass scooped up by Chris Hill. He's lost the ball, and a groan from those Leigh supporters directly in front of him on that terrace. It opened up for Hill, but Hill went without the ball.
I think the groan was from Neil Kelly. What a break by Morrison. Hill trying to transfer that ball into his opposite hand so he could stand up. But look at this. This is what you call a modern day prop, Bill. He pins his ears back, full throttle, and there he goes. Samoan sidestep, bang, try and get out of the way.
And to be fair, he wouldn't have been able to reach any of those. He couldn't have got the ball to Durbin. He was surrounded by a posse of Featherstone Rovers players chasing him down, so he took the best option there. So that's a warning, and that was so close for Chris Hill.
But that's a warning as well to the Featherstone side. Yeah, they tried this allowed in the bottom corner, but they've gone 100 yards and nearly come up with a try. Good play by Morrison on that occasion.
Kirk getting to his feet to play the ball. Hobson could have been penalised there for a little tug on the shirt. That is a great offload, and Tony Tomps on the charge has Hardman in support. Hardman escapes one tackle. Mort just did enough. The two full-backs have been in the thick of it tonight, and Mort comes back. He could have been penalised there. On the last now, Yestin Harris, chip kick over the top. Great chase. Oh, now then, this is going to be another video ref call.
Checking the offside.
Now then,
the offside, please.
Was there enough room to get that ball down?
Was he onside when the kick was placed in? Was he behind the kicker? You can see he's behind the kicker from this angle, but did he get the ball down before it goes dead? That is the big question. This is a game, the second half is all about the prop forwards. Tony Tonks coming up with a big run. Here we go. Try.
Stuart Kane has got that ball down within millimetres of that try, of that dead ball line. Or has he?
He reaches and keeps tight hold of it there. Good effort.
Great work. The Stuart Kane claiming his third try of the season awarded, and Featherstone Rovers now really are in charge of this one.
We've seen Mike Morrison for Leigh break through, run 50 yards for the Leigh side, but Dickens gets a neat little ball away to Tonks, who goes powering through, attracts Mort, the fullback. Ian Hardman keeps tight hold of the ball, gets up, plays it as quick as he can. Yistin Harris again, the ball to the line, pulling up the Leigh defenders, and it's that guy, Stuart Kane, who grounds the ball and takes his try really, really well. But it's all about the tempo of your run when you're taking on the defenders and the defensive line's coming up. You've got to attract them. Yistin Harris done that, putting that neat little kick for the big guy, Stuart Dickens, from the touchline.
Now then, this is a real test of his kicking ability. Well, it had, I think it was on course, it didn't have the legs, but 24 points to 6, the scoreline now. Featherstone Rovers well on course for another victory, and Stuart Kane, well, what an impact he's had. He came onto the field because of the injury to Sam Smeaton, and he's got on the score sheet, playing on that right wing.
Yeah, it's great play, isn't it? There was actually 3 terrific bits of skill there in rugby league. You had the offload from Stuart Dickens to Tony Tonks, then you had the kick, the precision kick from Yistin Harris, and then the put down from Stuart Kane. Absolutely brilliant. Leigh have come up with a short kick-off here, but haven't quite got the ball back, Bill.
Well, Morrison tried his hardest. It was patted back by Tom Hockey, and Morrison really made an effort to get there for Leigh Centurions, but Featherstone managed to keep a hold of it. So Featherstone Rovers looking to extend this winning run that they've embarked on. Morrison so close to getting onto that one. It was Jamie Field who beat him to the ball.
It's really give Leigh a big lift. 24 points to 6 behind. They're really getting off the line now, the big forwards, trying to force that error. They really need to get hold of the ball. Doing too much defence, it takes a lot of energy out of you when you've got to try and turn big guys on the back like that.
Andy Kane now. Cousin Stewart on the scoreboard. And then Stanton bringing that ball back. I mentioned the fact that Featherstone will be back on this ground on June the 4th to play Oldham in that Northern Rail Cup final. A cup, well, in their dreams, possibly. You never know, though, Featherstone Rovers supporters know, in that quarter-final, that is. And they'll be in action on Sky Sports next week as well with Featherstone Rovers when they take on Halifax, and that should be some game as well. 7:30 on Sky Sports 3. And that same June weekend, Leigh will be facing Halifax at the Shea. That's on the Sunday, and the other ties in that Northern Rail Cup quarter-final stage are Barrow against Dewsbury and Widnes against York, and those both are on Saturday, June the 6th. So this is a good workout for Featherstone, getting to know this pitch, and it's a classic example of these new facilities. Leigh cannot train on this field. They've played on this game, on this pitch 5 times, and that's the only times they've been on the field. They can't have any familiarisation sessions, as Featherstone diffuse the danger there. There's a player spark out, I think. It's Morrison, is it?
Steve Maiden's actually hit his own player in Morrison.
Andy, I'm alongside it.
Morrison's tried to get down. Morrison looks hurt there, the big prop forward. He's took one for his cause here. There you go.
Oh, back there.
I can't believe it. A winger
5 minutes.
knocking a prop forward out.
Well, and Mike Morrison's back on his feet.
Yeah.
Steve Maiden looks to be okay. So thankfully they're able to continue. Here's Tony Tonks now.
That second move. Let's get calm down.
Tonks will play the ball just inside his own half. Andy Kane always probing, looking for a chink in the Centurions' armour. Nothing doing there.
It's a cruel game. Dickens is calling, saying, give me the ball on Morrison. You get him, he got the ball, he's run straight at him.
That's
Morrison.
That's not fair.
That is not fair at all. If Morrison's mum was here, she'd be straight on that pitch.
5. Ready? Go.
Featherstone in possession. Richard Blakeway it was playing the ball. Kane a neat little kick, and Steve Maiden drifts back to gather that ball, loses his footing on this pitch, which you have to say is in smashing nick. There's a football side that plays here as well, Leigh Genesis. But other than that, it doesn't get a great deal of hammer, and it's a great facility.
Second.
And there'll be other clubs.
I take it by
not
your
just in the
commentary.
Championship.
I take it by your commentary, Bill. You really do like this facility.
Well,
don't
I think
you?
it's a classic example of what you can build, and it's not over the top. 12,000 capacity. It's what they need.
I agree with you, Bill. But what I would say is that grounds need to be protected, and this is the first year that this ground has been played on, of course. And you know, one thing we don't want to be talking about the repair work that needs to be done halfway through a season. So they need to monitor it very, very carefully. I think that's the reason why sides won't get on the train.
Kicker clear.
Stanton with a chip and chase.
That's urgent. It's like a little battle pocket ship, isn't he? Battle pocket ship. What's one of them?
Second.
No, but if they'd been invented, they might have changed the course of history.
Yeah.
Saxton.
What I mean, he's all over the park. He's trying absolutely everything. Trying to one-on-one steals.
This is the area of the field, though, where
invented a battle pocket ship.
You guys continue on with that. I'll talk about the game if that's all right. But these guys are, Featherstone have been very good in this part of the field. They've been very good at being able to get out of their own 10, 20 metre zone, work the ball down somewhere around 40 to 50 metres and get a good kick in and put pressure on the lead defence. Put pressure on the lead attack, I should say. Their defence has been superb, and that's why they've controlled the first 21 minutes of this half.
Do you think, Sean, that in the second half they've really targeted the Leigh forwards, so you've really restricted the go forwards? You can see the guys trying to get behind the ball, and they're the guys who've got to bring the ball forward, laying that platform.
Well, possibly, Terry. I mean, sometimes we look at games and we say one team looks a little tired, don't they, and one team's got a lot of energy. Just see if this is a penalty. No, it's going to be a turnover against Ian Watson there. That'll be interesting. They're all crying for a penalty here. They need one desperately, Leigh, but he's worked out. Somehow he's lost the ball. Oh dear, that to me should be a penalty. That to me should be a penalty. The Featherstone player here, I can't quite make it, but it looks like there's a hand in there.
It's Joe McLaughlin, I think.
And this is normally a common sense move, isn't it? Because if a player's on the floor, he's been tackled, the ball's not just going to propel forward without someone having a hand in, unless he's trying to get to his feet to play the ball.
No, that's definitely a call that's gone Featherstone's way, and again, you know, that just eases the pressure on them. Again, you can just sort of get yourself in good ball position. You can have a couple of attacking raids, put a little kick in if you don't score, try and get a repeat set.
Blakeway now, another one of the ex-Cas contingent in this Featherstone Rovers side. Change of direction from Joe McLaughlin. 4 tackles gone. Here is Blakeway. Dickens calling for the ball. Kane, Yestin Harris drifting on the outside. And Harris has gone without the ball.
First one.
Just a little bit scrappy at the moment, and wondering if tiredness, certainly you'd imagine for Leigh Centurions that might be an effect. Long weekend in Toulouse, and a heavy beating as well for the Centurions.
And in this half, sorry Bill, and in this half trying to bring the ball off their own line against the real Featherstone side that's really stood up in this second half. Tackling in numbers, turning them on the back, really restricting the edge. Look at that, the urgency to push the Leigh player back there from hockey. That's why you win games. It's not all about attack. Defence wins your games.
Chris Hill so close to a try in this second half. And more action coming up on Sky Sports tomorrow night. Sky Sports 1 as St Helens take on Bradford. Friday at 7:30. And Super League Extra Time will follow that. And Salford City Reds take on Hull FC on Saturday evening at 6. Sky Sports 2 and HD2. And that, given the form of the Salford City Reds at the moment, could be a tricky game for Hull FC.
Well, I certainly hope so. Although our form dipped a little bit last week in Perpignan. But we'll try and get over that very, very quickly. And
but you would testify to the fact that a trip to France to play a tough game, as Leigh Centurions had last weekend, can have a debilitating effect.
We're both on the same flight, actually, Bill. We shared conversation at the airport, and we were able to drop the Leigh Centurions off at Toulouse, and then we spent a little bit of time on a bus trip going from Toulouse to Perpignan, but we thoroughly enjoyed it.
That's 3, movement! Stay there.
Featherstone Rovers in possession and in control here by 24 points to 6. Inside the final quarter of the game, and Leigh really not threatening. They haven't threatened in this second half. Featherstone have just about had the run of the place.
That's 5. Aaron, 10 metres.
5th tackle.
Go.
Tonks gets to his feet to play the ball. Kane drills it straight down the middle of the park.
Play on.
Mort, like a good cricket fielder, down on one knee, got everything behind the ball to collect it. And then he collects the chasers as well.
Runs straight into the Featherstone defenders. And again, there's just a big urgency. There's a big lift in this second half. There's a big sting going into the tackles, trying to force the errors. But on that occasion, the Leigh players, when they tried to put pressure onto Kane, they just didn't shoot up in numbers. And that's where Featherstone have won the game. They're really working hard for each other. Look at that, trying to get the guy to ground. 31 metres in 3 tackles.
Good chip ahead, and Maiden on the chase. But it's fielded by Stuart Kane, and Stuart Kane finds Hardman. Hardman links up with Saxton. Saxton looking to prize an opening in the Centurions' defence.
You got through for the ball.
Hockey. Try scoring this second half, and tough to stop. Tom Hockey. Here goes McLaughlin.
Tackle 3.
It really is Rovers who are running the show at the moment. Leigh Centurions backpedaling again. Here's Tom Hockey once more. 4 tackles gone.
Stay here, Dave. Wait for the foot. Wait.
As Dave McConnell eventually gets Hockey to the ground. Harris brings Tonks back on the inside. That's the 5th tackle. Harris standing out to the right. They're going to go for 1 point, I think. Andy Kane gets underneath that and puts it wide as well.
There's no deception in the plays that this Featherstone team are playing. They're really taking it to him over the middle of that part. Andy Kane goes for 1 point, slices it totally wide, to the delight of all the Leigh fans behind the sticks. But that's a big plus. There's 3 men every time these Leigh team or the Leigh players are coming forward, and you've got to work as a unit. It's a team game.
Second move.
This Featherstone team are playing really well, but Watson, who's got the ball's not giving up. He's trying everything.
Well, Leigh, in fact, have reinforcements on the way. At least they hope they're on the way in the half-back position. They've signed former Australian schoolboy international Joe Williams, who Sean will know a bit about, former South Sydney player.
Yes, I coached Joe at South Sydney. He's a terrific player. He'll be an outstanding player at this level. He's tremendous attacking skills, great kicking game, reads the play very, very well, and he's had a wealth of experience in the NRL, and he's only a young man still. I think Joe's only about 24 years of age, so I think Leigh would wish he'd be here very, very soon. In fact, he could arrive now and come on for the next 14 minutes or 13 minutes. They'd be delighted.
I don't think Neil Kelly's anticipating that the border control people work quite that quickly. Not on evidence so far this year.
Well, you can always wish.
Here's Tom Saxton. No, it could be several weeks before Joe Williams arrives. But it's Featherstone Rovers in possession. And Kirk has lost that ball. Play on, says referee Hewitt. Picked up by Jamie Durbin.
And he was looking for who's going to push up with him, who's in support of him. It's a reaction. When you turn defence into attack, you've got to really switch on straight away. Here you can see the ball is pulled out by Dave McConnell, but they get away with it. They've got the ball.
Armistead, good offload. Watson now. Watson floats the pass over the top to Stanton. Stanton, good footwork from Stanton, comes back on the inside. 3 to stop him from Featherstone. 2 in the tackle. Here's Watson now. Watson again. Pushes the ball on. The kick's not a good one. And Saxton, well, it might turn out to be a good one. They'll get the ball back. Ian Mort it was.
That guy, Ian Mort, we mentioned his name all first half. He was really urgent. He was pushing up to see if he could get this ball for the try. You could see him, there he is. He gets his opposite number in Saxton, who's playing out on the wing today.
Yeah, just tell him.
And I guess Leigh would reflect on that and say we just haven't done that enough in the game. Apart from a 60-metre break being made down the field earlier on in the second half, we just haven't seen enough pressure being put on Featherstone's line. You know, with 11.5 minutes on the clock and you're leading by 18 points, you'd expect the game to be wrapped up. But you never know. If Leigh could score on perhaps this set of 6, you might just hear the pitter-patter of little feet coming along. You just don't know.
Go.
Armistead now. Spinning out of the tackle. 2 tackles gone.
Yes, in hold, Jimmy.
It's the first goal line dropout that Leigh had managed to force from Featherstone Rovers. Here's Watson now. Yestin Harris in the tackle. The 2 former Welsh internationals going head-to-head there. Great defence from Hockey. What great work from Tom Hockey. Shot out of the line there to make the tackle. On Durbin it was. Now Chris Hill. Hill will take him on again, trying to get the offload. Well, that was touched. Maiden going on his own, gets the pass on the inside, and Mort will claim the try. He does claim the try, and that is richly rewarded.
Okay, good call.
And that is the try that Sean McRae was warning about. Steve Maiden had an opportunity, got the ball away, and it's Mort who claimed the try.
If there's one guy that deserves it, it's Ian Mort. Again, Hill trying to promote that ball. Steve Maiden did ever so well. He come back inside. He knew that he had three attackers that were pushing up with him on the inside. He knew that if he stayed on the outside, he was going to get pushed into touch. The Leigh players have not given this up. They're trying everything to get back into this game, and it's this bit of confidence that they need to get back into this ball game. Control the ball, don't give daft penalties away, and both these teams can score the points.
Well, Mort with the try, and if he can add the goal, then it might well just have the alarm bells ringing for Featherstone Rovers in the closing minutes here. They'd still have a lot of work to do with Leigh Centurions.
Yeah, they would have, Bill, but he really needs to kick this goal, I think, for them to be any opportunity. You know, at 24-10, you've still got to score 3 times. At least at 24-12, score 2, you might get a point out of the game.
You get a bonus point. Mort across the face of the posts.
Yes, you're right.
24-10 it is.
I forgot you actually get 2 points for a draw. If you can get a draw here, you get 2 points, don't you, in the championship? And you get a bonus point if you get beat by 12 or less.
What would you do now, Sean, if you were the coach, if you were Darryl Powell, 14 points in front? Would you send down the message to shut the game up? Don't let them get that bonus point.
Well, probably. I wouldn't be worried about the bonus point so much because you're taking the 3 points anyway, Terry, to win. So it wouldn't bother me so much. I mean, you'd like a bit of pride in your defence. 24-10, you walk off the field, you'd be delighted with that. I think Leigh perhaps are the ones that are going to strive a bit more. And through that striving to get the bonus point, they're going to have to play a little quicker. They're going to have to spread the ball like they are now off their own line. And you might just come up with some errors doing that. So Featherstone might be able to, they might be able to prey on some of those errors.
Armitstead it was who got to his feet to play the ball.
Working 10. Stay, go.
And they know that they've really got to chance their arm, and they are chancing their arm. Now then, Durbin is the man in support, and Durbin will go in for the try. Jamie Durbin, given a second chance in his career after a 2-year ban here at Leigh Centurions, has scored a critical try in this match. A great breakout from Leigh. We said they had to throw caution to the wind. That is exactly what they did.
This Leigh side have played with fantastic shape. It was Watson again who sucked the Featherstone defenders in. It was Rudd who went through. He drew the fullback, Ian Hardman, he could do nothing about that. And Jamie Durbin just pushing up on his right-hand shoulder. But Watson, look at that. Perfect pinpoint pass. He caught Yistin Harris out of position. Yistin shot out the line. He didn't close it down. Adam Rudd went flying through the gap, and Jamie Durbin was in support to get this Leigh team back into the game.
Now then, can Mort land this one? Well, it favours his kicking style round the corner. And there really will be alarm bells ringing now, because that one has sailed elegantly between the posts. And it's 16 Leigh, 24 Featherstone Rovers now. And hold on to your seats, because once again in the Cooperative Championship, we're in for a storming finish here.
How quickly things can change. In a minute we're talking about the bonus point, now we're talking about Leigh possibly winning this game. And that's what happens, you chance your arm. It's amazing, isn't it, how you find the energy. You're down on the scoreboard, 24-6, game seemingly over. All of a sudden, a couple of things go your way, you find the energy, and now you put yourself in a position to win the game. It's a wonderful game, rugby league, and it just shows you, it's never really over, is it? Well, it is when they blow that whistle for full time, but it is over then.
Well, Leigh with renewed enthusiasm. Featherstone Rovers will be trying their hardest to slow this down right through to the 80th minute. The clock's certainly against Leigh now. Coming up to 6 minutes on the scoreboard, on the clock then. And they have used up all their replacements now, the Leigh Centurions. Sam Ray gets to his feet to play the ball. There is Durbin. And Watson goes for the 40-20. Hardman comes herring across to get that one, and it didn't actually have the legs. It just sort of plonked into the lush pasture here and died the death.
It didn't get there, Bill, but you've got to try and force the error. 6 minutes to go. This is where you can afford to be really, really tight. Featherstone players still trying to get behind that ball. Ian Watson flying out the line, trying to come up with the shot. On that occasion, James Taylor was lucky there not to give that penalty away. They've been so dominant, Featherstone, in the second half, but Leigh have really come back strong in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, they've left it too late, Leigh Centurions, you feel. The Featherstone Rovers' effort, certainly in the first part of this second half, is what's won them this game still, I feel. 24-16 they lead. It'll be 4 wins in a row in the championship for Darryl Powell's side after this, and when you think that they were really down on their luck after losing at Whitehaven on March the 22nd, 52-26 they lost, at home it was in fact, and the coach, some of the quotes from him after that game were pretty uncompromising. He was scathing about his side. A disgrace was one of his milder comments. Well, they have responded very well to that with this run of form. Wins against Gateshead, Sheffield, revenge against Whitehaven, at Haven, and now a win at Leigh. That's pretty impressive stuff, and that'll take them up to second in the table unless Leigh can spring this defence again in the closing minutes here. Watson appealing for the penalty. Knock on is the decision.
Again, devastated Watson. This is the second occasion in this half. He breaks for him. He's the go-to man for this Leigh team. He's getting up, trying to play the ball. He loses control of that ball. He's trying to get down. You can see Dickens did have his hand on it. He takes his hand away. Watson, in his urgency to put the ball down and play the ball correctly, he loses it.
So Gareth Hewer got that one right as well.
It's out. First, let's move.
Neil Kelly hoping for much more for his side from that decision, but to be fair, it was just the anxiety, wasn't it? It was Watson just desperate to try and keep things moving.
He's tried absolutely everything. He has been the go-to man in this second half, and it's amazing, isn't it?
Another knock on, and Durbin calling the troops around him. Come on, form the scrum, he says. They get there. Referee stops the clock, but no. Darryl Powell heads downstairs, pretty comfortable in the knowledge that surely his side can't let this slip now.
And Stuart Dickens has had a real big game, especially this second half. He's really led from the front.
That looked high on Donlan.
Richard Blakeway.
And Donlan sinks to his knees after that tackle. But that's good defence. That is great defence to force Samray into touch. They'll get head and feet at the scrum.
See a real lift in this Featherstone side, saying you've got to pull. There's the shot from Blakeway, it goes over.
I don't know whether it was Blakeway's shot or the follow-up from Spears, maybe.
Every decision I gave, you always contest. Don't contest every decision. Get in the scrum. Get in the scrum.
And great defence anyway from Tom Saxton. He didn't hang around.
This is good defence, isn't it? He tries to get around Hockey. Hockey stands really tall, pushes him into touch.
Ready?
I always say you've got to reward defenders.
Tom Saxton brought into the side because of the injury to John Steele, and he's done a good job for Darryl Powell tonight. Yestin Harris.
First, move!
He's directed operations for this Rovers side, as you'd expect. And Stuart Dickens has led from the front as ever.
Wait.
Dickens slowly to his feet. Well, Leigh Centurions have tried their hardest to rescue this game, but they left it too late. They allowed Featherstone Rovers to dominate at the start of this second half, and Rovers, despite one or two late worries, are going to hold on.
And they were always going to come out strong, weren't they? 32 points up at Whitehaven, so they can turn it on.
And they are turning it on with Tony Tonks. And that wraps it up in elegant style. Props can do everything. They can dive from distance as well.
And the dive was a 9.9.
And both props for Featherstone have scored tonight.
Stuart Dickens in the first half, Tonks in the second half. He just run into a gap. I love seeing this. Tony Tonks picked the gap. A lead defender come flying out the line. I don't know whether it was to get out of the way of the big guy. Look at the excitement on his face. He knows that's it. The game's gone. It's wrapped up.
Third try of the season for Tony Tonks, and that'll satisfy Darryl Powell. You can't ask for more for your from your front rowers. Not only doing all the dirty work and the grunt stuff, but to get on the score sheet as well. Not only score tries, but
and
kick goals.
They're all-rounders. I'm sure I was an all-rounder, Bill. In training, anyway.
And Dickens thumps that one.
Do you know what? I credit Darryl Powell because he gets these guys in at 6:30 in the morning on Sundays during the week. They come in, they do the weight sessions, they then go to work, they come back later on in the evening to go on to the field sessions. Really trying to instill a lot of professionalism. And on second half performance, he's done a fantastic job.
Well, a short restart, but with just a couple of seconds on the clock, it's immaterial. And Featherstone Rovers celebrate another away win. Their 6th away win this year, which is a phenomenal record for this side. Their 4th victory in a row. Another defeat for the Leigh Centurions now. And they're still looking, Lee, for their first win in the championship at their new home.
There's a real togetherness about this Featherstone side. I've seen them all high-fiving each other. The Leigh players look absolutely devastated, shocked. Ian Mort played very well for him. I thought Nicky Stanton was a real standout. Ian Watson tried everything. That guy in your picture, Yistin Harris, he knows how to kill games off. He knows how to bring the tempo of the games higher. But Andy Kane again, he was tremendous. Tony Tonks, Stuart Dickens, the 2 front rowers, the 2 try-scoring front rowers, and goal-kicking Dickens.
Strictly speaking, one of the wingers, none of the wingers have scored tonight. The props have scored. Stuart Kane, came on and took up a wing position, but not originally a winger. So a triumph, we would say tonight, for the prop forward fraternity.
Bill, say it all the time about prop forwards. They are the try-scorers in rugby league.
But the creators are crucial as well, and Andy Kane created a lot tonight for Featherstone Rovers. He's been judged man of the match. He's downstairs with Ben.
Andy, very tight in that first half, but that third quarter really the key to the victory.
Yeah, absolutely. We knew it was going to be a tough game. Darryl said before the game, his first 60 minutes, we just got to grind it out, go kick for kick, get into a bit of an arm wrestle. And we know, if we did that, we could tire them out. In the last 20 minutes, we could score some points.
And some good tries as well.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a lot of skillful players in our team, and we put some good stuff together tonight. But I think defensively, that was the thing that won us the game. I've been working really hard on it. Last 3 or 4 games, we've been spot on, and that's what won us the game in the end.
Since you lost at Whitehaven, it's now 4 successive wins, and you're second in the league.
Yeah, bit of a kick-up bum for us, that I think. We were obviously really disappointed with that, especially on his home turf. But we rectified that when we went up there and give them a bit of a towel in. But so 4 games on bounce now, and just hope to carry on from this.
Andy, you are tonight's man of the match. There's the champagne that goes with that. You've also got a donation to a charity of your choice. Can you tell me where that's going, please?
Steve Prescott from it.
Thanks very much, Andy. Let's bring in the Featherstone coach, Darryl Powell. Darryl, very tense going into this. It was very tense in that first half as well, but that third quarter really crucial in the victory.
Yeah, I think we needed a little bit more from our forwards just after half-time, and I thought they gave us that. They were excellent, and our halves controlled the game from there. Our kicking game was a little bit better as well, and our control of the ruck, which was important.
Unbeaten away from home, 5 wins out of 6. You've turned it round since that defeat against Whitehaven.
Yeah, it was an interesting defeat, that, and I think fair credit to all the boys. They've really worked hard. We've got our game back together, and we've had a few good wins now, so consistency is really important. It's a tough competition.
And of course, not so long away, visits of Halifax live in front of the Sky Sports cameras. This is a victory that sets you up nicely for that in a week's time.
Yeah, tough challenge. Matt Calland and his team are unbeaten for quite a while now, so we know what we've got in front of us. We'll rest up over the weekend and look forward to the challenge.
Thanks very much, Darryl. Well done.
Thank you.
So a very satisfying night for Darryl Powell. It took a while to turn out to be satisfying, but a strong second half performance from his side has seen them run out winners. A slightly anxious end to the game with Leigh staging a late fight back. There's confirmation, 30 points to 16, and that late try from Tony Tonks really wrapping up the victory. Just for a moment, maybe, Leigh Centurions supporters thinking that perhaps they could snatch something. They didn't even get a bonus point in the end. It's a hard life, and that win, as you can see, has pushed Featherstone Rovers up to second place behind Halifax, who they meet next Thursday on Sky Sports. So that is going to be another big game in the Cooperative Championship. But to deal with tonight first, Sean, and it was the start, as we said, the start of the second half and the way Featherstone went about their business that really sealed the game for them.
Yeah, it was important, Bill, either side to come out. Both sides could have come out and started well, but they didn't. Featherstone clearly got the better of the start, and Leigh, to me, just looked a little bit slow tonight. They looked a little bit pedestrian. They turned over a bit of ball, had a couple of calls didn't go their way, the usual thing, and all of a sudden the other side mounts a lot of pressure. And even from the start of virtually the start of the second half, Andy Hobson comes up with an error to play the ball, and from the ensuing scrum, Featherstone are able to go over and score a try, courtesy of a really well-timed pass from Yeston Harris out to Ian Hardman, who goes over untouched, and that was to make the score 14-6. Joe McLaughlin runs a last play option here. Yeston Harris was screaming for the ball before, and he managed to offload to Tommy Hockey, and with a conversion, 20 points to 6. Again, Yeston Harris involved, a brilliant bit of skill, magnificently timed kick, but also just as good from Stuart Kane. Some great bits of skill in that try, and that made the score 24 points to 6. Leigh would have come back in the game, of course. Hill offloading there, touched by a Featherstone player, play on 6 to go. Steve Maiden over the top to Ian Mort, who scored the try. And at 24-10, you just started to think, well, could it happen? And yes, there's a pass from Ian Watson. They go down the short side. He gives the ball to Adam Rudd, who runs about 60 metres, passes inside to Jamie Durbin, who goes over and scores a try. At 24 points to 16, it could happen, but you need the football. And when Tony Tonks is able to stroll over almost on full time, conversion very, very simple, 30 points to 16. Probably a fair result, I think, Bill, in the circumstance. I think Featherstone dominated that game for lengthy periods of time, run out winners that Darryl Powell will be happy with a lot of the game. Probably won't be too comfortable about the way that Leigh were able to come back, but sometimes you have to give credit to the opposition side and say, well, they found some energy, they had a bit of ball, and they expressed themselves. And maybe if they'd have done that at other times in the game, who knows, scoreline might have been a little closer.
And Terry O'Connor's gone downstairs. Terry, Featherstone have responded really well to that defeat that they suffered at home to Whitehaven when they were, in the words of their coach, a disgrace. Since then, whatever he said has had a good effect, hasn't it?
We said in commentary, didn't we? They scored 32 points last week against Whitehaven, up at Whitehaven in the second half. So this team can really play, and you can see them behind doing a cool down. They're really getting focused. They've got a real togetherness. Darryl Powell was happy. There was things in the game that he wasn't happy with. But when you've got leaders like, say, Yeston Harris, Andy Kane, the two prop forwards who scored the tries in Tony Thompson,